It's showtime, baby. Let's go. Woo! Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, Iceman Jeff Trunapole. And as always, I bring you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, home of some of the best barbecue around. That's right, it's Midwest Best Barbecue. If you guys have not checked that out, please go check it out. It's over there on the east side, right there, Ward's Corner exit. They have delicious barbecue pulled pork sandwiches, wings. They got the CTB wings. They got the Uno wings. They got the G-Funk wings. They got all kinds of cool stuff. They got ribs every Saturday or every third Saturday. Make sure you go check out Midwest Best. Also, check out Meyer Door and Windows for all your door and windows needs. They're family owned and operated. They give free estimates. It's at www.meyercincinnati.com. I have them in here in my house, and my house has been much better. My energy costs are down. They look great. Check them out. Also, West Side Peeps. Go to my favorite sports bar. It's Hail Marys. You should be there right now. You can be right there right now, but watching my show on your phone, but watching the Reds game on their giant-ass TV screen there. It's right there in the heart of Cheviot. It's your ticket to the game, Hail Marys. What is up to everybody in the chat? What is going on? We got Stranger in there. We got Brandon in there. And Rocket Bengal. How are you guys doing today? All right, we have a very special guest. He's been on my show a couple times. Very proud to have him back on again. He's none other than the Bengals' all-time leading kicker. He's Jim Breech. Hey, Jim, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, man. Good. Enjoying this nice sunny day in the car?
I know. I've got a few. Yeah. I am. I've got the car still running because I got to have the air conditioning on.
I know. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then like 2 days from now, it's going to be cold again, probably. So.
Yeah, that's kind of this kind of weather this time of year, right?
Welcome to Ohio, right?
Yeah, really.
Oh my goodness! So how you been? Are you excited about the Bengals season coming up here? You like the off-season moves they've done?
I like everything they've done. They kind of fill the spots you expected them to fill, and getting Trent Brown I think was a little bit of a surprise, but it works out nicely when you look at what he's done. The guy's mammoth, and people can't get around him, and to keep Joe upright, that's probably a good thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, keeping Joe upright would be a great thing. Now, we got, I think, the two biggest bookend tackles in football. They're both 6'8", over 300 pounds, and I think they come up with a nickname for themselves called Brown County, which is kind of funny. That's actually a county here in the Cincinnati area.
I think you're leaving them. I think you're shortchanging them when you say 300 pounds. I think that the second number needs to start with a 5.
Yeah, I know. Oh, Jim. I have met Orlando Brown, and I'm not short myself. I'm 6'3", but he towers over me, and his hands are this freaking big. Like wraps all around it. I think his fingers could touch when he shakes my hand. I mean, these two are ginormous. I mean, now if the worry part is Trent Brown has been injury prone the last couple of years. So that leads me to the draft. With them have signed Trent Brown, and with him, like I said, hopefully, knock on wood, hopefully he's healthy all year. We don't have to worry about this. And with the departure of DJ Reader, this is for me with the draft. This is where I keep going back and forth. If Byron Murphy or Johnny Newton are there, I'd have a hard time not taking one of them. But I'm also willing to get a right tackle because we don't know if Brown's going to be healthy all year. Plus, he might not be here next year. What's your thoughts? If you were the Bengals, how would you handle the draft at 18? Would you go interior defensive lineman or would you go right tackle?
Yeah, they weren't great stopping the run last year when DJ Reader was out. Though, I mean, when it comes down to it, you're paying Joe Burrow the big money for a reason, and he's got a better chance of keeping you in a game from the offensive side if the defense is struggling. Which I think the defense have played much better this year.
Yeah.
I think picking up Von Bell was huge, and there's some good things that they did from a defensive side. Sheldon Rankins is going to be great too. Put some pressure up the middle. However, I just think you need to get some protection for Joe, and whether Trent Brown is your guy and he plays the whole season, he's got 1 year.
Right.
And they need to bring somebody along. The unfortunate thing is they've struggled to really develop offensive linemen. So hopefully whoever they get in that first round really plays well, and they can put him in. There's a good chance he's probably going to play. Trent Brown's history. If he plays the whole season, that'd be phenomenal. But that could be a sixth offensive lineman. There's some guys out there. J.C. Latham is like crazy. The guy's so explosive. Love to see somebody like that available, but you see it in a lot of the mocks, which I love to do. I love to see the mock drafts, and J.C. Latham was a big guy in there. So if he fell, that would be a tough one. If you have a couple of D linemen, and then you have Latham or a couple guys that look like they could really fill the void, we'll see. But I think you have to go offensive line.
Yeah, like I said, I keep going back and forth. Now, the thing with I was just watching the video that Joe Goodberry did, and Johnny Newton did not test at all because he's still got an injured foot. So nobody really knows. There's no rats. There's no relative athletic score on him, and that could hurt him in the long run. Now, this is a long shot, but there are some people now saying that since he did not test, that he could possibly fall to the second round. Now, I don't know if he's going to fall to 49 to the Bengals, but for me, if that's a possibility, and Latham is there, I'm drafting Latham and then trying to trade up to get Newton in the second round. That's to me, if we can kill two birds with one stone, we need to get our future right tackle. Either way, that's got to happen because Ted Karras is a free agent at the end of the year. The Kappa's a free agent at the year after that. So these guys that we've signed, we got to be able to develop our own offensive line. So that's where I think that's got to happen. But to your point, and this is why I love DJ Reader, and I hated that he left. That's still a big hole I think we have to fill. That's where Newton or Byron Murphy or Tavonte Sweat, who is another big boy, could be a good one there too. That's where I don't know. I always go back and forth. Like, okay, we got to get this, we got to get that. And like, to me, this decision is going to be hard. It's really going to depend on which way the draft falls or who's going to be there. And the thing is, the Bengals have put themselves in a position where they could draft the best player available at 18.
You mean Brock Bowers?
Yeah, dude. Oh, see, oh my God, that would be. Can you imagine Brock Bowers on this on this offense?
I think that would be terrible.
Oh,
I think that would be a terrible move.
Yeah.
Look at Eifert was so talented, and he really had one good year. And it's rare that tight ends really make it through seasons. If you think about it, these guys are in there. If they're in there blocking and they're running down the field, and they're in the middle of the field all the time, they get beat up. I mean, the way Kelsey plays, the fact that he hardly ever misses a game, that's very unusual. Look at George Kittle; he's always missing time. So
right.
I mean, from a talent standpoint, yes. From a practical standpoint, I want a right tackle or a defensive lineman that's on a rookie contract that you have some control over. So at least that's one issue you can put aside for a few years versus having to go out and find an offensive lineman to fill that void every year. This is just getting old.
Yeah, it's getting old. And I mean, to be honest, I don't think Brock Bowers is going to be there 18. And I honestly, I've got the point. I don't think, even if he is, I don't think the Bengals are going to draft him. I mean, look, we got Gesicki, and I was very happy with getting Gesicki. I think he's going to have a tremendous year this year with the Bengals. Now, the funny thing is, he plays slot a lot, and that's where a lot of people say, well, are we going to bring TB back? I honestly think Tyler Boyd played his last game as a Bengal. I think Gesicki is going to play slot a lot more this year than tight end or line up at the slot position, I should say. Then line up as an actual tight end this year. I think we might have Drew Sample in there as your number one tight end.
Very possible. If you consider, what is he, 245? Runs a 4.5 something 40, the guy can just flat out play.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he's played with teams that have actually thrown him the ball, he's had some spectacular seasons. So it's exciting. Excuse me, it's exciting to see what they've got going on there. However, one of the other things why I don't think they would bring back Tyler Boyd, although they might, I would, if nobody was signing Tyler Boyd and he did a team friendly deal, they might bring him back
Maybe, yeah.
at a much lower cost. But I depending on what they do in the wide receiver room, if they go ahead and draft somebody really high, I think that tells you how they feel about Charlie Jones and Yoshivas.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
typically it's that second year is when those wide receivers make the biggest jump. I think Yoshivas could be really special. And
Yes.
Charlie Jones, I mean, he can fly. I think he can play in the slot. I think there's some things that he can do with those guys and be really, really exceptional. So we'll see. It's such a crapshoot, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, that's why they call it the draft. Now, I've said this. A lot of people are down on Charlie Jones. I actually think I'm with you. I think he can play the slot and actually and do the return game for us as well. I mean, he got injured last year, and I think that hurt him. Now he's got to stay healthy this year. If you get your second year in pros, and get injured again, then you get the label of injury prone on all that. But Yoshivas, I was just watching a workout video of him, and I have no idea how in the hell these guys do this, but he just kind of walked up and then jumped up on, did this stack jump where he jumps up on the pads that are, I don't know, 5 feet tall or whatever. And he did it with ease. I'm like, these guys are so athletic. Dude, I couldn't even begin. Even when I was younger, I couldn't begin to even do that.
All right, let me ask you a question.
What do you got?
If you couldn't do it, would you be putting it on video?
No. No, of course not. No, of course not. No.
We don't see a whole lot of them because there aren't a lot of guys doing it.
Right.
He's exceptional. I mean, the guy's just exceptional, and everybody thinks, oh, he's a track guy. Well, he was a track guy, but he was really a football player that ran track, not a track guy that played football. Kind of like Isaac Curtis. A lot of people say, oh, he's a track guy. No, he was a football player that ran track and ran a 10 flat 100 meters when he was in college. So
that was moving.
There's some guys out there that are really exceptional, and Yoshivas. And what, just out of curiosity, what don't people like about Charlie Jones?
I don't know. To be honest, I can't put my finger on it because, last year everybody's excited about him, and I've heard more people are kind of more down on him this year. Like, oh, I don't think he can do this. I'm like, how? I'm like, when he played, like I said, when he played, I thought he made plays for us. So I don't understand why people are down on him. And a lot of people are say, oh, yeah, we got to get a wide receiver. That's a must. I'm like, I don't really necessarily know if it is a must. I think they will. I don't think it's going to be till later, day 2, day 3. Is what I actually think. To me, the trenches are the more important thing. Get that tackle and get that interior defense lineman and maybe get in our cornerback or something. Those are the more important spots that I think than wide receiver.
Yeah, I agree. Last year when Charlie Jones was coming out, I pulled up some different videos on him. Go back and look. I think it was against Patrick Surtain, one of the top rookie corners this past year.
Right.
I think he went for 12 catches for 240 or 60 yards against Surtain, going straight up against him, one-on-one.
There you go.
He can play, and he is fast. He had one of the fastest, that GPS thing. He was one of the fastest in the league last year when he ran that touchdown back against Baltimore, that punt return.
Yeah, I was at that game. I remember that. I was like, holy crap. He caught it in the end zone. I sat in and ran away from me, and I'm looking at my son like, dude, he can fly.
He was flying. When he hit that hole, he was gone. I can't believe they didn't call it back, but they did. It was great.
I'm with you on that, Jim. I was like, oh man, they're gonna call that back or not? Like that, they did. I'm like, all right, hey, we got one finally. So that's good. And he brought put it this way, he's the first one that when he caught the ball on a punt return that I'm like, oh shit, we might actually get something here. The first one since like Pac-Man. Pac-Man was last punt returner for the Bengals that I can remember going, I'm kind of excited that this actually might, get the ball, he could break it. Charlie Jones is the first one since Pac-Man that I remember. Last couple of years, I've just been hoping guys just catch it. Like, just catch the ball. Because my buddy, Matty Myers, he's always yelling, just catch it. Just catch it. Well, this one, Chuck can catch it, and he can take off. So that right there is an element we haven't had in a couple of years. Yeah,
and depending on how much he plays, that's another aspect when these new kickoff rules, now they're going to really
Right.
want somebody to return the ball, and somebody's got a little shake and bake might be good, and the punt returner who can have a little shake and bake. So I wouldn't be surprised in the draft if they get somebody who's an exceptional returner, and particularly if Jones is playing a lot, on the offensive side.
Now, speaking of the new kickoff rules, if you now you did do the kickoffs for the Bengals, how like now? I mean, Evan, since you're on, I'm wearing my kicker jersey for you. I don't have a Breech one. I have to get one. But Evan could just.
Hey,
Huh?
they're in the you can get a McPherson jersey everywhere. I think that's phenomenal.
I like it. It's cool. And it's a Super Bowl one too. If you see that too, so I got represent the kickers. But with the new kickoff rules here, all these kickers now they can just blast it through the end zone and there was no return. Now you got a certain target area that you have to hit. How does that change a mindset for a kicker? And is it? I mean, I don't think it's gonna be any harder. But I mean, that's what I'm asking. It might be a stupid question, but is that harder to get it to drop in that target area than it is than it would be to place it somewhere else?
Well, it's a pretty big target area. It just has to be inside the 20.
Right.
And it can't be in the end zone. So all it'll take is some kicks to figure out how hard to kick it for these guys. Like Evan said, he'd probably do like a field goal approach. Although he can kick it into the end zone with a field goal approach. I think the biggest aspect is going to be directional kicking.
Yes.
Hitting it toward the corners to hem them in so they can take away a third of the field. I think that's the biggest thing you're going to see. And maybe even if you can kick it and get it on the ground, that might be another aspect of if guys want to try and do some type of squib kicking. But I think they have to get the ball past the 20. That could be more difficult to control that because if the ball does like a knuckleball and nosedives, that's tough. So, it'll be interesting whether this lasts beyond this year. And even the UFL has changed that up a little bit now. They're more going around and covering it rather than the guy catching it. So everybody's still experimenting with the best way to do it, but everybody realizes that it's a play you want to see because it's an exciting play. When a guy breaks it, particularly if he's on your team, there's nothing better. So they're going to keep working it until they find something that works really well. But I just don't want to see it out of the game because that's what they say. That's 1,100 plays.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of plays.
And it's jobs, too. That's where I don't think the NFL Player Association would want to get rid of it. Those are jobs. I mean, you can do it on punt return, but somehow they'll figure out some way to get somebody to do two jobs or whatever. It'll be less jobs and opportunities for guys to play. But I am excited about it because, like I said, I think it's getting the kickoff back in the game because the way they have it set up, you're not going to be able to run in and smash into each other like you used to be able to. I think you're going to be able to have some more inline blocking and stuff. And I think it's going to be interesting to try to figure out how, like Darren Simmons, special team coach like this, figure out how the best way is to block it. You're still going to do the wedge. You're going to do something different. How is this all going to work?
You can't wedge.
You can't do the wedge? Okay. I didn't
one-on-one blocking.
Oh, okay.
One-on-one blocking. So my curiosity is, are they going to put bigger guys out there?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Like a linebacker or a tight end. And if they're in tight spaces where these guys don't have a lot of room to put moves on guys, you block with a guy like that can maybe control a guy better than a DB can. So I think you're going to see some bigger guys blocking and maybe even some bigger guys covering kicks, although I still think it's going to be the smaller, fast guys covering the kicks. But I think you might see somebody a little bit bigger in the blocking.
Right.
So we'll see. It'll be interesting.
It's definitely interesting. Like I said, I'm glad they're trying to do something because them just kicking the ball, out of the back of the end zone. Like I said this one time, if they kick it and it goes through the uprights, they should give the other team points or something like that because they keep kicking that far anyway.
So in Canada, if you kick a ball that's not returned, or even if you miss a field goal and it's not returned, and I think a kickoff too, if it's not, I don't think they can kick off. Anyway, I think a field goal that's not returned, they get a point.
Okay.
Even if you don't make it.
There you go.
But they've got an end zone that's like goes on forever.
Yeah.
So
I know.
And
they have guys in motion that run in the backfield, and I've watched some of it. I don't get Canadian football. I mean, it's not bad. I don't dislike it. I still don't understand all the rules. Now another thing about the kickoff here is the onside kick. I won't say it's done, but you can't surprise anybody with it anymore. Do you think how is that going to work? Are they going to try to figure out the kickers have to figure out a new way to kick it just so it bounces even more? I see a lot of guys sit the ball on the ground and spin it and do different things like that. I mean, is the onside kick you think going to go away, or are they going to try to figure out different ways to do it?
I don't think they want to completely do away with it. However, it's hardly ever successful.
Right.
So that's why guys are trying to come up with different ways of kicking the ball. Maybe kick it hard into it. So if somebody mishandles it, it's kind of the biggest thing. Or spin it like the guy did, where it actually went up and kind of came back, was effective. So guys are working on different things all the time. But again, it's not a play that's very successful. And yeah, you're right. Sean Payton can't do the surprise onside kick in the Super Bowl anymore, right?
Right.
Again, I mean, those are like 1 in 1,000 plays. So, you keep in the excitement of the kickoff, but you have to adjust because of the way they're doing it.
I was thinking the same thing Augie just put on here. He said, just blast a line drive off the guy with the worst hands. That's when you said you kick it off somebody. That's the first thing I was like, maybe you just line drive, kick it at somebody, and it bounces off of them.
We can do that. Like if you're right at the end of a half or something.
Right.
Or, we would occasionally just try and drill the guy right in front of me. I hit a couple guys in shoulder pads and stuff. No, nothing to hit a guy in the chest that we were able to get. A couple times I hit balls that, glanced off guys, but they went down the field.
Yeah. This could be interesting to see how they do this. Now, rolling back to the offensive line, which is, we've been talking about this for, I don't know, last 4 or 5 years. I miss the offensive line that you guys had back in the 80s. I mean, that was one of the greatest offensive lines ever. And it just kills me that how good offensive line that we used to be known for. And even in the Andy Dalton years, we had a good offensive line. Why do you think...
With Willie and Witt and, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing. I mean, we had a really good offensive line then. And it just kills me with the struggles we've had and the lack of developing guys. Why do you think that is? It's just luck? I mean, it's just our bad luck has happened, or we've just... guys aren't coming in ready, or is it just that hard to develop offensive linemen?
That's a good question. We have not done well. Some teams seem like they've done better, certainly. However, if you look around the league, it's the same problem with most teams. For whatever reason, the way the colleges play it, many colleges don't get into a full stance. So they're in a 2-point stance. Guys don't really know how to run block, and they just do it differently. They're kind of just getting in the way. That's why you see so many guys from the Alabamas, Iowa, Wisconsin, the teams that play more of a pro-style offense are oftentimes the offensive linemen that do really well because they've already been doing some of the things they're going to teach in the NFL. So, and sometimes it just takes a guy a couple of years because it's not something he's been really doing previously. And I don't know. Offensive line almost seems as hard as picking quarterbacks.
Right. Yeah. It
seems like those are the two toughest positions for whatever reason.
Yeah. It's not easy at all to pick those out. Now, not everybody can be Anthony Munoz. He's once in a generation lineman, and I think we kind of got spoiled by him for over the years that he played.
All right, let me ask you a question.
What you got?
So you have a guy who has 3 knee operations, missed his entire senior year, only came back because he wanted to play in the Rose Bowl. So he played 1 game his senior year. What are the chances you're taking him 3rd in the draft?
Probably not very good, but hindsight is named with Anthony Munoz, so I'm glad they did.
Yeah, you and me both.
Yeah,
so I bet. Bob Trumpy had he and Brad Buddy. Brad Buddy was drafted 2 picks to Kansas, like 1 or 2 picks after Anthony. They were roommates in college. I mean, they were like best buddies. They went to USC and they were phenomenal, right? And the Bengals took Anthony, and so Bob Trumpy had Anthony on and Brad Buddy. He wanted Brad Buddy on too because they're best buds.
Right.
And just before he gets off, Trumpy says to Brad Buddy, I think the Bengals made a mistake. They took the wrong guy. And Brad Buddy had a nice career, but Anthony's considered like he's the hallmark. I mean, he's the
Oh, dude,
guy that they compare every tackle to in the history of the game since he played.
he's the GOAT. I mean, if you
Yep.
well, talk about GOATs, it's you got to start offensive lineman. It's Anthony Munoz and then everybody else. I mean, it's not even close here. Now, and hopefully this year, hopefully we'll get our second offensive lineman into Hall of Fame and Big Willie. I don't know about you, Jim, but I was extremely disappointed that he didn't get in this past year. I thought last year was his year to get in. Do you think it's still Bengals bias? I mean, we got two guys in now. Why is it so hard for us to get Hall of Fame players in? Because we got good players. I mean, I think the Ring of Honor helps, but what is the problem here? Lack of Super Bowl wins. What's your thoughts?
I think first of all, Kenny Anderson should go in before Willie does.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
He's got stats that you have to take the eras too. I mean, people look at his stats today, so he doesn't deserve to be in. But if you compare him to when he played, I mean, even playing the Steelers in those years in the 70s where they were so phenomenal, his passer rating is like 20 points, 25 points higher than the average for all other teams, all other quarterbacks against Steelers. So anyway, Kenny, Willie, is there a bias? It seems like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it seems like
Although
it.
I think the biggest issue is there's a lot more football players on a team, and they get 6 or 7 guys now. There are so many worthwhile players that are not in, that are older, that they're trying to figure out a way to get these guys in that deserve to come in. And why? And I don't remember the last time a quarterback even went in.
Peyton Manning, I think it was.
But prior to Stabler, it had been a while, and
Peyton Manning was probably the last one to win in.
What's that?
Peyton Manning, you talking about just quarterback in general, or that
no? Manning hasn't got in yet.
Peyton Manning, yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame.
Not yet.
He's not?
No.
I swear, I thought
I don't
for
think
sure
so. Stabler was the last quarterback to go in, I believe.
Okay. I thought Peyton Manning. Maybe I'm wrong. But either way.
Has he been out 5 years?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was like 2015, 2016, something
No.
like that.
What year did they win the Super Bowl?
You got
Denver.
me.
That would have been his last year. So
no matter. Channel. Yeah.
But I'm saying from a standpoint of the Veterans Committee, for instance,
right.
Stabler's been the only quarterback. Yeah, you may be right. I don't pay attention. I want the old guys. I worry about the old guys.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, go ahead.
But Stabler went in. His stats, Kenny's actually were better for the most part. They both won an MVP. The Raiders did win a Super Bowl. So I don't know. And Willie, I mean, in the years that he played, I think there was some Pro Football Focus thing that he was like second or third. First or second amongst all tackles for that whole period of time. And whoever else is already in the Hall of Fame. So, and just like with Witt, when Witt moved him to tackle, and Joe Thomas is going to be in when he has his chance. And Witt probably will be, but part of it is because of his time in L.A.
Yep.
Yet he and Joe Thomas were the best tackles in the league for 6 or 7 years. Joe Thomas got all the accolades, and Witt finally got a couple Pro Bowls with the Bengals later on, but it took a long time. And I think there is a bias. I mean, when you go a whole decade and you have the worst record of any, what was it? Any professional sport for that decade.
Yeah, awful.
And the Bengals were the worst winning percentage.
Yeah.
It's hard to people get out of that mindset.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, what irritates me, and I always bring this argument up, and every time I try to bring this argument up, I forget his name, but the quarterback for the Chargers that you guys beat in the Freezer Bowl.
Dan Fouts.
Thank you. Dan Fouts. He got in there. And I'm not saying he didn't deserve it, but Kenny Anderson, at least one, if you want to go head-to-head, beat him in the AFC Championship game, took his team to the Super Bowl. Kenny Anderson led the AFC in passing in two, was it back-to-back years in the 70s and 80s? I mean, he's like the only player to do that.
He did it 4 times, back-to-back twice in 70s and 80s. Exactly right.
Exactly. So, I mean, I get tired of people like, well, he didn't win anything. Don't give me that crap. I mean, there are quarterbacks who've went in there.
Didn't even get to a Super Bowl.
Right. You're
Played
preaching to the choir there, Jim.
One AFC Championship game.
Yeah, one AFC Championship game, and that was it. After that, Chargers didn't do anything, I mean, the Bengals, we went to the playoffs in 83 and all that, but I mean, at least we went to the Super Bowl. Ken Anderson took them to the Super Bowl. Now, if, I've said this before, if the playoffs were set up in the 70s like they are now, the Bengals would have went to the more playoff games in the 70s. They had the freaking Steelers in our division, and they always end up winning the division. So, I mean, that's another thing. And like you said, the way you can basically clothesline guys running down the field, to get separation. They created a rule for Isaac Curtis because they couldn't slow him down. They kept hitting him. I mean, these are things that the Bengals changed because of Ken Anderson and the passing game that he had in the 70s. Their rules changed for him. The stuff he did is phenomenal. And if you could take it to this day and age and put Ken Anderson in a team right now, he'd be leading the league in passing yards. I guarantee you that.
So how about somewhere in the 70s, the Steelers go 13-1, Oilers go 12-2, the Bengals go either 11-3 or 10-4, and don't make the playoffs. I think they were 11-3 and didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that year, Houston and Pittsburgh played for the AFC Championship.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they always gave Pittsburgh all kinds of trouble. The Steelers did not dominate the Bengals, even when the Bengals weren't great in the 70s. But
right.
They struggled with the Bengals always.
Yeah, it's just that's what kills me. Is like if they could have added playoff games or whatever instead of. I mean, it's just like baseball. I mean, the Reds in the 80s went from 85 to 88 of finishing second every year, and you had to win your division then too. They didn't have the expanded playoffs, but could have, should have, would have. Either way, the point is Ken Anderson, long deserving to be in the Hall of Fame. It's ridiculous that he's not. I mean, I'm hoping, like I said, well, that's the thing. I was hoping at least Willie would get in this year because I don't know if they're going to put two Bengals in at the same time, even with the committee for the older guys. I mean, I hope they do because my fear is, and I'm not trying to talk bad, but I want Kenny to be here. I don't want to be like Ken Riley when he's no longer here, and I want him to enjoy it. So that's the thing with me. It's like we're these guys are getting older. We got to. The time clock is ticking. We got to get these guys in. Ken Anderson by far deserves to be in there, and I know you're working as hard as you can to get him in, and as fans are trying to get him in as hard as we can. But do you think there would be a chance that they could have Willie and Kenny in at the same time?
I suppose it's possible. It'd be great if they.
Oh, yeah, it'd be awesome. I just don't know if they do that.
Another guy that they're missing out is Lamar Parrish.
Lamar Parrish, exactly.
Lamar, 47. He was like a 6 or 7 time Pro Bowler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He had the record for return yards. I think Dion ended up beating him.
Yep.
I mean, he had all these records. He was an unbelievable punt returner. He had all these touchdowns on interceptions, fumbles, and punt and kickoff returns, and yet. He's like an afterthought, yet he had 47 interceptions. I
mean, he's the reason Ken Riley got all those interceptions because they didn't throw the ball his way.
Well, that's what he says. That's what he says. Right. However, when he left and went to Washington, Rattler actually had more interceptions after that.
There you go. There you go.
Don't get caught up in that too much. That's what Leapin says. Leapin says, "Oh yeah, he got all this because of me." There is some truth that they did throw the ball more Rattler's way, and he came up there and just cut the legs out from under those guys.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you could. That's another hit you can't do anymore. So some of the hits I've seen the Rattler do, like, dude, I don't know how some of these guys didn't break their neck because he dropped right on their head. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, he didn't. They wouldn't allow you to do. You couldn't do that now.
No, you might be thrown in jail now if you did that, Jim. You're like, oh my God, you can't do that. So with that being said, Lamar Parrish, he's another one, like, for the Ring of Honor. Like, for me, I've been big on trying to get Corey Dillon in the Ring of Honor this year. Another one I like is Lamar Parrish. Because the reason that I'm big on Lamar Parrish is kind of the same reason that I think Ken Anderson should get in, because I want them, they deserve to be in. 2 is I want them to be able to be here to enjoy it. So with the way the Ring of Honor is set up, there's so many guys, including yourself, because you'll be in there someday as well. Do you think that they should open it up to more than just 2 players, at least for a couple years. Like at least have 4, maybe try to get some of the the clog of the system that we have with so many guys that we all want to get in. We just can only do 2 at a time.
I suppose, yeah, that would certainly be nice. However, the fact that there is even a Ring of Honor, I think, was a huge step. So from that standpoint, I think it's fine. Right. Yeah, Corey's probably going to be a little bit down the road. They're probably going to get like you said, they're probably going to get the older guys so they can actually be there. Like Kenny even told somebody that was on the committee for the Hall of Fame that was a voter. He goes, look, if you're going to put me in after I'm dead, I want to enjoy it. If I'm going in, I want to enjoy it. I don't want to be in a wheelchair or, be in a bed somewhere where I can't enjoy it. So do it soon.
Right. Exactly. That's the point. You won't be here to enjoy it. And that's where hopefully we can get Kenny in the Hall of Fame, and he'll be around to enjoy that as well. So, Jim, I got it confirmed. I talked to you today. You're going to be joining us for the second annual Jackpot Joey golf outing. How you swinging lately?
I'm not. I got over partially torn Achilles.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. That sucks.
Yeah, I got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, as happens when you turn 68, and in the middle of the night, sometimes nature calls, and I looked at my dog, was right at the end of the bed. She's got her bed there, and that's fine. So when I went in there, I had to turn the light on to get something while I was in the bathroom. And that was my biggest mistake, and I just assumed she was still in the same spot, right? Right. So I went around it, even though I couldn't see because my eyes hadn't adjusted yet. And she had moved over, and I tripped over her, and I came down hard on my right foot, and I thought my calf just exploded. I thought I blew my Achilles completely out, but I'm laying on the ground, and I was in as much pain as I've been in my life.
Oh God!
But I could move my foot, so I'm thinking, well, I didn't tear it all the way. So I went a few weeks, and it started to feel a little bit better, and then I went walking, and it pulled, and so I better go and see a doctor. So he did an MRI, and I have a partially torn Achilles, and I don't know. It's not healing like I'd hope it would. And so I'm hopeful on the 19th that I can actually hit driver and stuff. I've got a couple outings. Dickie's got an outing coming up on the 6th of May.
Yep.
I'm hopeful I can do more than just chip and putt. Walking up and down hills is not good right now. So
no, I wouldn't think so. Have they said anything to you about getting surgery on that thing, or just going to try to let it heal?
He said if it doesn't heal on its own, we got to consider surgery or injections, a PRP type thing, I guess.
Oh, that sounds like fun. It's like
yeah, it's gonna mess up my golf season.
I know, it's like stupid dog.
That's about the only thing I do. I was playing pickleball, but I can't do that. My Achilles was already bothering me with some tendonitis for about a year, and they put me in a boot for a while, and actually I should have done the boot for the Achilles tendonitis. It calmed everything down really quickly. So anyway, I don't know. It's we'll see. I'll do something that day. I don't know how much. I probably won't be playing all that well.
But worst case, you can ride around the golf cart and you can drink beer with me. We can go make fun of everybody else.
Yeah, I don't drink beer, but I can ride around the. I'm going to do something. I'll chip and putt if nothing else.
There you go.
You can have my beer.
All right, that sounds good. We'll have a chipping and putting contest with Jim Breech. Easy.
So I only know about your event because this lady I'm dating, Judy Mitchell. She calls me. She was in Florida visiting her granddaughter. She calls. She goes, have you ever heard of the Jackpot Joey golf outing? I said, yeah, I've heard of it. They said a lot of former guys are playing. I said, no, nobody's ever said anything to me. And anyway, getting off the plane, she gets off the plane with Maddie.
Yeah.
And somehow they got talking, and he mentioned the event. And he said, no, I'd really like to get Jim Breech to play in this. I just happened to be dating him.
There you go.
It was pretty funny. So yeah, that's how all this came about.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, he was funny. He got off the plane and he was talking to me about it, and he goes, yeah, I just ran into Jim Breech's girlfriend and everything. I was like, oh, cool. He goes, have you had him on the show? I said, yeah. I said, I actually have his number. I can text him and talk to him if you want me to. He's like, sure. So you start talking. You told me about the Achilles, and I'm like, hey, you want to come on the show? So I mean, I haven't had you back on in a little while. So I appreciate you coming on. And the
No
golf
problem.
outing is good. 100%, just to let everybody know, 100% of the proceeds of the Jackpot Joey golf outing go to the Joe Burrow Foundation. So, Jim, if you don't know, that's our nickname for Joe Burrow. We call him Jackpot Joey. We say we hit the jackpot when we drafted Joe Burrow. So we got
We
hats.
did, didn't we?
Oh, dude. I'll tell you this real quick. The one and only time I have ever rooted against the Bengals was that game in Miami where if we win or we lose, we get the number one pick. I hate saying it, but I wanted us to lose. I wanted that number one pick. And by God, I'm glad we did because, I mean, Jim, he has completely changed this franchise from head to toe. It's completely different.
He really has made. You just look, you think differently, you feel differently. And all you have to do is go down to the stadium on a Sunday, and the atmosphere there is crazy.
Yes.
I just want to see him get through a training camp.
Yeah, that'd be nice. All right.
Can he make it through one training camp, and then we'll get into a whole year.
Exactly. Now, where are you on that? Let's put it this way. Say Joe makes it through the whole training camp. We're getting to like the last two games, last game of preseason. Are you one that thinks he should play so he's not rusty? Or we're not taking a chance, we're going to put a bubble wrap and we're not playing until the season starts?
Well, I got a question for you.
We got.
How has the season started the last few years?
Like crap. That's where I think he should play.
Well, let me put it this way. Whether they play, they need to do something differently than they've been doing because they don't look very competitive early on.
No.
And they get better as it goes along, and toward the end of the year, they're usually playing really well. However, every time they're playing catch-up, because we're probably in the toughest division in the league, and you're going to give them 2 games,
right.
2 or 3 games, and then try and catch up. It's very difficult. I think Pittsburgh is going to be pretty good this year if Russell Wilson plays. I mean, they give him a hard time. Do you know he had 26 touchdown passes, 8 interceptions last year?
Yeah, he had a pretty good season last year. It wasn't bad.
He doesn't play like Sean Payton wants him to play.
No, but he'll play like the Pittsburgh Steelers wanted to play, which is don't make mistakes.
Yeah. So anyway, everybody's got good defenses, and everybody's got pretty good offenses. So I think our division is going to be really tough. It's just hard when you get 2 games down right off the bat, especially if you start playing in your own division. We won 1 game in the division last year. 1. So we had no chance. As the season progressed, we were so bad in the division, so bad in the AFC that we were going to have to beat everybody. There was no tying anybody and getting in.
Right. Exactly.
Unless somebody you went head-to-head with and there's nobody else involved, which it didn't happen. And for them to get to 9-8, with Jake Browning playing as well as let me ask you this. So early in the year, Joe couldn't move at all.
Right.
Would Jake Browning have made a difference because with the way he played? Could they have had a better chance to win?
Oh, hindsight, yes. Hindsight, yeah. They should have played Jake and let Joe sit, but nobody knew anything about Jake Browning, really. I mean, when he did play, I mean, let's be honest, in training camp, he didn't look all that great, even in the games he did play. So that's where I'm like, well, I mean, 90% Joe's better than I thought when we had a backup, but for now,
it was
for
like
now
50% Joe.
Yeah,
there was no 90%. If you remember, he pretty much just stood there. There was no moving.
Yep.
Yeah, that was tough. That was like a statue playing quarterback. I'm sure he hated it because he's usually his movement ability is unbelievable, and not having that ability really takes a lot of your game away.
Yeah, exactly, and that's it. Once he finally got healthy, then Jadeveon Clowney had to fall on his wrist and hurt his wrist. I'm like, oh my goodness, you got to be kidding me, because that's we just got done with that 4-game winning streak. And Jim, the best game the Bengals played last year was again. Now I call them the Sucky Niners because they beat us twice in Super Bowls. They'll always be the Sucky Niners to me. But the best game the Bengals played was against them. I mean, the way that offense ran, you didn't know if they were going to run it, if they were going to pass it. They had no clue. I mean, that was the best offense I've seen the Bengals run all season. And if the Bengals can get that kind of offense this year on a consistent basis, we're going to be hard to stop. But I agree with you. We got to get off to a better start because we can't put ourselves behind the 8 ball. We can't be, 2 games, 3 games out of the division and have to claw and fight our way back. It's worked the last couple of years, not last year, but 2 years before that. They come back and they won the division. But you can't keep doing that. You got to get off to a better start. So I'm with you. They got to do something different. But I think it also includes the offensive line, because the offensive line has not gotten off to good starts. So I think the offensive line and Burrow have got to play something in preseason, or they got to do something different so we are ready to go come game one.
Well, I do know that one of the things they like is when they have another team come in and they practice with them.
Yep.
Because they can go live, but it's in a controlled environment.
Yep.
They like that better than putting them in a game.
Well, do you think they'll ever, the NFL, well, I don't think that owners will ever want to do this. If they do, they'll charge full price for tickets. But do you think preseason games might actually just become that? Instead of actually having a real game, I don't want to say a real game, but actual games on preseason, instead of do like they do when they have the teams come in and they scrimmage each other that way. Do you? Because I kind of think I could see that in the future. That's your preseason games.
So it becomes more like college, where college you just jump right into the season.
Right.
I suppose. However, if you're a young guy trying to make a team,
right,
those preseason games are huge for you. And I know coaches like to have them because they like to see their guys out there playing against somebody besides who they play against every day.
Right.
I don't know. It's going to be a tough one. And the owners, that's the only time they don't revenue share for tickets.
Right. Yeah. That's why.
So that all goes into their individual pockets.
Right.
And think about it. The Bengals sold out the first preseason game last year.
Yeah,
that might be a first. I'm sure it's a first.
Yeah, we sold everything out last year. It was electric.
And there's a waiting list.
Yep. Well, luckily I got in. I bought my season tickets because it worked out perfectly. My son graduated high school in 2018. He did travel hockey, so I had a lot of money went to that. Once he got done with that, then we drafted Joe Burrow. I'm like, all right, I'm in. I'm buying season tickets, and I've had season tickets ever since.
Heck, if he stopped doing travel hockey, you could have bought club seats after what it cost you for the travel hockey.
Oh, dude. Yeah, travel hockey. If you know anything about it, it is no joke. It was a blast. I enjoyed every minute of it. But it's like I got a raise once he stopped playing, and we were gone every weekend. But yeah, as soon as that happened, like a couple years later, draft Joe Burrow, and I'm like, I'm in. I'm totally in. So I'm glad I got my seats when I did, because, like I said, it's a waiting list, and I'm like, that right there. That's the first time I think in history of the Bengals that we've had a waiting list.
In the 80s.
80s we had one? Okay.
Yeah, we had 40-something consecutive sellouts in the 80s, and I think there was a waiting list then.
Okay.
I don't think it was like it is now, but it was there. I'm pretty sure there was a waiting list at that time.
Yeah. So either way, I mean, everything's going good for the Bengals. And Jim, did you get to many games this year? Did you see the white Bengal tiger and all the lights and everything that they're doing, the rule of the jungle?
Yeah, all that stuff, and did the stripes, the orange and black stripes, got to do that, and yeah, absolutely. It was, Caroline and Elizabeth Blackburn, they have brought so much to the table in terms of, particularly I think Elizabeth handles the game day, a lot of the game day stuff. They've changed the whole atmosphere down there.
Absolutely.
And they have brought their more generational look at things, and it's really changed the way people perceive the Bengals, I think. And they've done those girls have done an unbelievable job of it.
Right. I mean, just look at the whiteout games and the stripe game. Other fan bases are looking at the Bengals going, why can't we do that? Because other teams have tried to do this, and I was so proud of the stripes one, because I was at the game, and you can literally, it was uniform. They gave everybody a section, like, all right, this section's orange, this section's black, and it wasn't sporadic. There's some orange here, some black. It was lined out, Jim. It was all orange, black, all around. It looked so.
I was in an orange section, and I was impressed.
Dude, it was so cool.
People didn't mess it up.
No, it was so cool. I was in the orange section too. It was so cool. I enjoyed every bit of it. Jim, I'll let you go. You've been on for 49 minutes. I appreciate you hanging out in the car for me. I'll keep you in my prayers about your Achilles. I hope it heals up, and hope to see you at the golf outing.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. Take it easy. Who dat?
You too. All right. Bye-bye.
That's it. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Jim Breech is a great dude. Hopefully, he'll be able to join us at the golf outing, and maybe he'll be actually his Achilles will be healed up and be able to play some golf. If not, maybe he can just chip and putt and have a good time. Anyway, thanks for watching. Shout out to my sponsors. I hope you guys enjoy them as much as I do. But go get some delicious Midwest Best Barbecue. They're right there on the east side. They have delicious CTB wings, Uno wings, G-Funk, pulled pork sandwiches, all kinds of deliciousness. If you like barbecue, go check out Midwest Best. Meyer Door and Windows, your family-owned and operated window and door company, www.meyercincinnati.com. I got them in my house. They're easy to clean. They look good. They are energy efficient. Go check out Meyer Door and Windows. And again, for my West Side peeps, go check out this hidden gem. It's Hail Mary's. It's right in the middle of Cheviot. That's Cheviot. It's your ticket to the game. Go there. They got beer specials, giant TV screen, great atmosphere to go watch the Reds. Go watch the Bengals this upcoming season. Check out Hail Mary's. Thanks for watching, everybody. I've been live shooting on ZTV, YouTube, Facebook, X, Twitch, Rumble, and if you're checking it out on the podcast, thank you. It's on BeanPod, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, Play, wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure you rate, like, and review. You can follow me on all those platforms along with Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day. I got Ian Cummings on tomorrow. Draft guide, Jeff Guru from Pro Football Network. Let's go see. The Reds are crap. The Reds are losing. They were winning 1-1 or tied when I started this thing. Now they're losing 5-1. I'm gonna go finish, watch it. Maybe they'll come back. Other than that, you guys have a great day. Throw it up. That's just sports, baby. See ya.